48 seconds for 2 logos, both of them telling you it's Disney. Because God forbid you mix this up with a Pixar movie. Nobody was talking to you, Luxo Jr., get back in your cage.
I don't like the implication that Luxo Jr. is in a cage.
That's weird. Look at that rendering. The detail of all those Twitter users on the screen.
Admittedly, maybe it's because I don't have Twitter, so maybe there's a joke that I'm missing, but I still feel like it's a weird thing to make a joke around.
Uh-oh, the princess is trapped.
Oh, I was half expecting Andy's voice here, with some sort of snowman toy getting into a classic unnecessary Woody Buzz adventure.
Arbitrary movie reference.
Those of air, of fire, of water.
Why does a horse represent water?
Is there any reason it's not allowed to?
They were attacking us.
Later we're going to find out that the Northuldra were innocent, and that it's all the Arendellians who attacked. But during this entire sequence leading up to the surprise attack, I don't see any of these soldiers carrying swords, or even have sheaths to put them in.
It's possible they had their weapons hidden until they needed it. King Renard would definitely want this to be a surprise attack, I feel.
Whoever saved you, I love them.
That person turns out to be your mom, and I'm not quite sure why it's kept a secret. Yes, she is Northuldran, and that could be a scandal, but they could simply leave that part out. Just say she was at the damn celebration party.
I think Agnar brought it up so Anna and Elsa don't view the Northuldrans as the true villains. The idea that one of them saved their father is interesting.
I'm pretty sure we covered this in the first Frozen video, but I'm still mad that Anna and Elsa share a room in this huge castle.
And like I said in the first video, that's really common in families to do that. I would add to that, though, that these sisters clearly love each other and would probably want to sleep together. I can imagine Anna in particular loving that because she can always play with Elsa's ice powers. This is before the incident where Elsa shot ice at Anna's head.
The lyrics to this song say, dive down deep into her sound, but not too far or you'll be drowned. This is about a river that tells you secrets. Why does the river impose limits on your knowledge? This river sounds like an asshole. Also, lyrics probably could include, yet even if too deep they go, Disney will not let death be so. Fear not, kids, they'll return. True emotion never earned.
I 100% agree with the first sin. I don't really know why Elsa learning what really happened that day in the forest was something she shouldn't have heard. But the second sin is weird, because you're saying this out of a clip of Aduna singing this song. Last I checked, she's totally dead. Heck, you always mock Disney movies for killing parents, so Disney has had plenty of experience with keeping death permanent.
Your Majesty.
Does this happen every time Elsa is startled?
Yeah, probably.
What happens when Elsa is watching porn and Anna comes crashing through the door asking to build a snowman? What is a vagina's estimated thawing time?
Oh, wait, you asked this question to make a porn joke? And I remember you sending the first movie for that size doesn't matter joke.
Either Anna and Olaf decided to walk through this house frame while these guys were working, or these guys started putting up the frame while Anna and Olaf were walking through it. I choose to believe everyone is a dick here.
It was more likely the former, and I don't think Anna and Olaf were interrupting this work at all. At least they're not messing with a super hard job.
Kristoff is such an immature bastard. I mean, using Olaf as a prop in front of his girlfriend. Will this guy ever learn?
Jeremy says something random cliche. Come at me, Luke.
Olaf is a dick to fishermen. Also, I don't care if everyone is stuck with musical disease. No one would trust Olaf with a fish. So really, it's on them.
Fair point, but you wrote struck in the subtitles, even though you said the word stuck. Did someone make a typo while editing?
Here the song goes, and I promise you the flag of Arendelle will always fly, our flag will always fly, and holy what is this song? We started with Love Never Changing despite seasons changing, and now we're doing some sort of Pledge of Allegiance flag worship? Is it too soon to hate this movie?
As usual, CinemaSins hasn't been paying attention to this film, even one as messy as this. They're right that this song started off with them talking about how some things never change. That's the title of the song after all. And they're mentioning this flag will always fly as an example of something that won't ever change. This serves as irony later on when Arendelle is evacuated and the wind blows the flag off.
Sure, maybe they have pre-existing rules that limit Elsa from using her snow powers to make shapes, but we just watched Olaf distort himself to make the exact shapes he needed. So flurry up some snow and let's get this party going.
And Anna flat out said in this scene that they shouldn't have allowed Olaf to do that. More importantly though, Elsa isn't feeling right now, as she's starting to hear that voice calling out to her, and she's curious what it is and where it's coming from. She's clearly not in the mood to play this game.
This is gonna happen a lot, isn't it? Also, you know what, voice? Maybe you should give better instructions than this, and Elsa would come find you sooner.
Maybe it's not able to, or otherwise it would have done that.
Elsa sings to the voice that she needs to ignore its whispers, and I'm just throwing it out there. A voice that can be heard from the distance she's hearing is more than a whisper. F you, poetry.
To be fair, no one else hears it.
At this point, Elsa sings, I've had my adventures. I don't need something new. And I'm guessing that saying is engraved on plaques hanging around Disney's headquarters.
That doesn't make sense though. Wouldn't Disney want more adventures and yet still not care about making new stuff? That's one of the biggest critiques they get anyway. Just look at all the unnecessary live-action remakes.
Elsa belts out into the unknown, and do you think the village is totally okay with the queen who scream sings into the dead of night? I mean, their sleepy time right up, Elsa.
Yeah, but from this distance? And wouldn't they all have windows to prevent them from hearing her?
This world is supposed to be set in our world, so realistically,
Okay, you started a sin by saying that, so I already know this sin is going to be ridiculous, so I'll just go ahead and sin you for that without listening to the rest of it.
The air rages. No fire, no water. The earth is next. We have to get out.
Get out to where? Earth is everywhere you plan to stand, so you are
It's only affecting Arendelle.
We find out that the elementals are pushing the people out of their home to help them avoid being killed later by rushing waters. But we also find out that the elements are pissed because of an injustice to the Northuldren people at the hands of the Arendelle assholes. So I'm confused why the elements would suddenly appear to help anyone at all.
It's possible this is meant to show the spirits are at least merciful enough to spare lives, especially at people that didn't physically disrupt them.
You've been hearing a voice and you didn't think to tell me?
I didn't want to worry you.
Well, it's not the exact words. This is pretty much the I didn't tell you so I could protect you cliché.
That's not exactly true. It's not like Anna was in any danger.
Just tell me what's going on.
I woke the magical spirits of the enchanted forest.
That's right, children. The power of singing a song from your imagination has awoken angry elemental spirits. Let this be a lesson to all of us that singing is forbidden.
Says this over a Disney movie, even though songs are a huge part of what makes them popular.
Also, why is it taking so long for the voice to call out to her? All the went down in the forest like 20 years ago, but it took until just now for the voice to try and call Elsa.
I thought about that too, so let me tell you what I think. I'm pretty sure the voice is supposed to be Induna's spirit, and she obviously knew that Elsa wasn't in control of her powers for a long time. She most likely wanted to wait for her to figure that whole thing out before telling her. However, there was also a 6-year time gap in between films, so in that sense, I'm not sure why it took her so long. Maybe she wasn't able to for whatever reason, maybe she didn't find out until then. I don't really have a definitive answer, and it's not strong enough to sin Jeremy here, so I won't change the sin count.
I won't let anything happen to her.
Unkeepable promises.
Pretty sure she didn't say the word promise here.
They're both asleep. So, what do you want to do?
I'd remove all the sins from every movie and retire if Anna and Kristoff turned this into a hardcore sex film right now.
No, you wouldn't.
Good to know Gamorka's still terrifying children everywhere.
Arbitrary movie reference.
Look, I understand the spirits being pissed, but I'm not sure how Elsa is supposed to make things right if you're going to be a dick the whole time. Maybe use your wind power to write a message in the leaves. Why is this so complicated?
Maybe they want to test her for whatever reason. Elsa also needs to realize that she is the fifth element that controls the other four, and this helps with that, since she tames air, fire, and water. Though we never saw her get to Earth for some reason.
They look like moments in time.
Yeah, when I see a bunch of ice sculptures that came out of destroying a tornado with ice, that's exactly where my head went too.
Jeremy, pay attention. When Elsa was inside the tornado and she was freezing it, it was giving her glimpses of the past of what happened when Bernard attacked the Northuldrens. She figured out that these statues are likely those memories, but frozen. No pun intended.
Whoa, looks like Anna and Elsa's parents forgot to check the privacy settings on their memories frozen in time.
There are a lot of weird sex jokes in this video, huh?
Well, at least they have their parents. Their parents are dead.
Man, this Olaf recaps the first Frozen movie part is probably the best thing about Frozen 2.
Lost in the Woods is the best part of Frozen 2.
So it turns out that the fire spirit is a cute lizard. That makes sense. Animation is so good these days you can barely see the strings of the merchandising department during these scenes.
Yeah, I'm sure this thing was meant to sell toys, but is there any reason why the fire spirit can't be a lizard? Do you think you have any authority on what these things are supposed to look like? You're not the writer of this movie.
Somebody's calling us. Who is it?
A question this movie will fail to answer, leaving many fan theories that I have explored in great detail. Is it Elsa's mother's voice? Is it the fifth spirit? Was Elsa's mother the fifth spirit before leaving the woods? Did nature reward her with a magical child to hear the call when she gained her full power? Then she returned to her magic source to become the new fifth spirit? No real answers given, but lots more high-pitched calls to come. It's a lose-lose, really.
I'm pretty sure it's meant to be Elsa's mom. During the Show Yourself song, Elsa saw her and she was even singing along, and I think it makes sense since she was a Northuldren. And no, I don't think that's a theory. I'm pretty sure the movie itself confirms that.
But look, there's a fifth spirit.
We would say Element, but that is owned by the Sony company, and this is not a ripoff of that at all.
Sony? I've always heard this movie was supposedly ripping off Avatar: The Last Airbender, and that's Nickelodeon. And even then, I'm pretty sure lots of other properties have used this trope, like The Fifth Element and Elemental. Heck, even the James Cameron Avatar movies are becoming that.
You coming with?
I'll just, yeah, I'll meet you there.
Okay. You know where you're going.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I know the woods.
You know the woods of the enchanted forest that you just arrived in last night?
He most likely means he knows how to find his way around the woods. This guy started off as an ice harvester.
At this point, Kristoff sings the song Lost in the Woods, and I have really no other sin than...
No! Sinning Lost in the Woods. I don't even like these Frozen movies, but dang it, this scene put a smile on my face, even if it is pointless to this movie's story.
Hey, Gil's back.
This face wind spirit is about to give Elsa a clue about where to go next, and I'm wondering what took it so long.
Probably because they just now arrived at the spot where their parents' ship is.
Every Arendellian ship has a compartment, waterproof.
That's very clever.
You said convenient incorrectly.
Actually, it's accurate. Many ships back then had these waterproof compartments. The real sin is Anna saying just Arendellian ships.
Water has memory.
Look, I know that in a previous scene, Elsa beat up a tornado with her ice and it produced moments in time ice sculptures, but I didn't realize she suddenly learned the skill.
It's not that she learned the skill, it's that that's how the water works in this forest.
What are you doing?
Elsa builds an ice boat and provides a long slope of ice to keep Anna away from her, but damn, couldn't this end in Anna's death? This thing is going faster than a skeleton bobsled and it's going through unfamiliar terrain. Also, earlier it looked like using her powers to put out the fire was really exhausting to her. But now she's made an ice boat and a league-long flume with a tee-hee and toot.
Because it's been a while since that fire incident?
Yeehaw!
Jeremy yells at the screen cliche.
Ahtohallan is a Northuldran word for Fortress of Solitude.
You could have said that about Elsa's ice palace too, just saying.
But of course, this moment feels so powerful with the imagery and music and message of stepping into your power, but really, what the is going on? Elsa has been called by the fifth spirit, but is also the fifth spirit. Is she possessed?
No, she is called by her mother and discovers that she is the fifth spirit. For a movie that already has a lot of confusing stuff about it, this isn't one of them.
Why is Elsa embarrassed by such a powerful moment in her life? Let It Go represents breaking free from the expectations of her parents and embracing her powers even unto isolation. This would be a proud power ballad, not something to be cringing about. Disney playing at this song's annoyance is ridiculous. Parents may be cringing because their children have been singing it endlessly for years, but Elsa wouldn't be.
Yeah, but that song was sung after she had frozen the entire kingdom of Arendelle, and she just decided to run away instead of learning how to control her powers properly. I would have let this sin slide if you had just left it at, this movie is being too meta by showing Disney is aware that Let It Go was overplayed, but you had to try and say the rest of this.
Elsa is now in the magic place where the memories are, and begins to learn all the things she needs to know. But I don't understand why she couldn't do the ice memory thing in the enchanted forest and get the same answers. She was able to see memories in the forest and conjured them up on her parents' boat, complete with audio.
Those only gave her fractions of the truth, and mainly screenshots. This allows her to fully see what truly happened that day.
If she's in a spot where she's feeling cold for the very first time in her life and is about to freeze to death, how does she still have any power?
What is this question? You think because of that logic she shouldn't be able to use her powers? That's just an arbitrary rule that you made up.
Wow, Elsa was able to shoot the memory to Anna wherever she was. That's convenient, even for magic. It's like we're supposed to believe Elsa knows and commands her entire power arsenal whenever the plot demands it.
She's been able to do that since the ending of the first movie, and it's been 6 years since then, so of course she'd be a lot more skilled at it by now.
I'm flurrying away.
Man, Disney just can't quit that snap effect from Infinity War. I'm sure Olaf wasting away here will have the same impact as the vanishings in that movie, which is to say, none.
Hey, the snapping in Infinity War was heartbreaking, despite the fact that we knew they were coming back. And they still are, even after Endgame. Like Tony told Peter he'd blame himself if anything happened to him, and then he went away.
Olaf. Elsa. What do I do now?
Probably get out of the cave, but I'm not dead, so what do I know about giving advice in a moment like this?
The problem is that Anna is really depressed right now after losing both of them. Grief is known to mess with people's headspace. I feel like that's obvious, but I guess it ain't to Jeremy Scott.
King Runard betrayed everyone.
How do you know that?
My sister gave her life for the truth.
Oh, okay, so we should definitely break that dam then based on that evidence.
This guy saw Elsa tame the fire spirit, and he knows that she's the daughter of both Arendelle and Northuldra. It makes sense to him that she could have done something like this.
This reminds me that I have so many questions about the parents. What's in the mall? Did Kid Mom grow up in the palace?
Yes. I don't see an issue with that.
Did anyone question where her parents were or why she was dressed so differently than the Arendelle people?
Couldn't she just lie to them about that?
She eventually tells Kid Dad that she's Northuldra, so they both would have known about magic, which leads to a whole bunch of questions about why they failed to tell their future magical daughter Elsa about their personal experience with elemental magic, instead of isolating her to a room.
Hold on, didn't you technically say this exact thing in the resend for the first film?
Watching Elsa suffer through her powers as an adolescent is tough, especially when we know now that her mother is Northuldra and has seen magical things in her youth that could help Elsa understand her place in the world. Why no one shares these important details with her is either because they're the worst, or because Disney went for a cash grab and failed to consider how creating the Northuldra storyline out of their ass would paint the parents in a super negative light.
I haven't seen Frozen 2 in a long time, so correct me if I'm wrong, but what about the mom being a Northuldra would have helped here? How would knowing about other magic have helped Elsa control her powers? This movie explains that love is what'll fix it, and I don't believe that has anything to do with the sequel's lore. That video came out 2 years after this one, so I guess this is a retroactive sin for the resend for repeating a point from this video, especially since it makes more sense to send this movie for that than the first one. And by the way, now that I have Frozen 2 fresh in my head, I can firmly say that no, it wouldn't have helped.
We must choose. But choose wisely.